more tech travel stories and information. This is MacVoices. This week's MacVoices is supported by Kolide. Kolide is an endpoint solution that uses the most powerful untapped resource in IT, end users. Learn more at kolide.com/MacVoices. Welcome to MacVoices. This is the talk of the Apple community, and I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, we started with what I thought was going to be a 10-minute conversation, and it grew into an in-depth discussion of traveling with your tech. This time around, the panel offers up some suggestions and some recommendations as we dig a little bit deeper into the subject. So let's go back and let the panel do the talking.
I have a hunch, or at least I can explain to you the situations where I've seen battery-powered printers being carried around. And it's been typically like a business-specific function, like you're going to a conference and you need to be able to print something at your booth or in your hotel room, and you don't, and you're not in a position where you can go somewhere else to borrow printer time, which in many cases is going to be at the booth that you're working at. Other than that, at this point,
usually booths have power,
right? But I've seen at trade shows where when they start unpacking all the stuff for their booth, there's a printer that's battery powered, and but you're right. I mean, you can just plug into an outlet in most cases.
And that's what I used to support. We don't offer them anymore. It was a portable printer that you just had to plug in. I mean, our claims guys would carry those around with them all the time, and then because it was crazy, they had to print stuff on the fly. And Chuck can relate to that. Back in the day,
that's a good use.
Back in the day, but they
trying to get away from
more. But why now? That's why I don't understand why he would need it now. It's kind of strange.
It's like the insurance commercial where the guy tells the guy, "It's like we don't need to print the internet." Yeah, we don't need to print the internet.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, Jeff, I can see if you had a contract situation, and somebody didn't want to use something like DocuSign, but that too is even fading away quickly now.
I agree. Yeah.
DocuSign?
No, printed contracts.
Oh yeah, everything's DocuSign these days.
Yeah.
So I interpreted the question in a slightly different way, which is that there's a lot of small photo printers that are battery operated, and I've seen these in the before COVID times. Somebody on a cruise having it, and I know other people who bring them out to various social and other events and gatherings. Because it makes you the life of the party. Yes, you could easily email somebody the image, but to actually have it and adjust it on your phone and then print it, it makes people rock stars. So that's why I interpreted that. So yeah, I think that's fun. Fun social use of a photo printer.
So Chuck, when we're at the airport and Chuck has the power to power up all the people next to him, and then we have the portable printer where it will be like a little office, and people can just hang on the corner of the airport and print out their stuff and charge.
Oh, and don't forget, if they're doing that, you also have to have your small USB powered document scanner, your single page document scanner.
Sure, yeah, that's right.
Well, but you could use your iPhone for that now,
right?
That's true. Yeah,
some people, you would think I could do. When my wife hands me papers, she's like, "You gotta scan this." I'm like, "I showed you how to do this on your phone 10,000 times." She's like, "No, I don't know."
And she's like, "You understand? This is why I keep you around, right?"
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Warren, to get along with your wife, if I said something like that, I'd be in tomorrow's trash. Early.
But she tells me what to do. She would love that. She tells me to scan something, I do it.
So Paul's follow-up comments are: if I don't take one, I need it. Okay. I use it more on the road than at the house. It's always something stupid, and I can print a contract for swampland.
Well, I mean, if you're going to sell some swampland or a bridge, it's good to have a printer right there before your route backs out.
Yeah, it's easier. Isn't he the one last week that said I got some swampland I could sell you for like half price? I thought that was a joke. Maybe it's true. I guess he really does sell.
Well,
that's how half of Florida was sold way back in the late 1800s, early 1900s.
Yeah. I thought it was like, I'll sell you a bridge, the joke.
Well, today he could sell you a dam at a discount because one of the generators has failed. So, how could you pass that up?
And I've seen that dam. I knew exactly where it was by looking at that photo because I've been there too.
Yeah.
At least 4 times, if not 5 times over the past decade or 12 years, 2010.
I don't know, War. I think Paul's buying up the swampland so he can sell it to you at a profit. I think that's
how capitalism works.
Sure.
Yeah, there's one born every minute, right?
It's a mushy business.
The next story. So, anything else before we leave this? I mean, I think it was a really interesting question. There's one other thing that I realized that I use more. I used it then, but I definitely use it more now because I'm so much more aware, and that is a VPN. For everything, for my phone, for my iPad, for my computer. I mean, if I'm away from home, unless I'm at my office, I virtually never connect with anything without a VPN. I just don't. So
yeah.
Good.
So what VPN do you use?
Pardon me. I have 2. I have private internet access and ExpressVPN.
Okay.
Or my 2. Anybody have other
How do you
recommendations?
pick which one to use?
Sometimes one or the other will have trouble connecting. I don't know why. So,
private internet access, you said?
Yeah, PIA.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm using TunnelBear.
Setup came with. If you have Setup, you have Clear VPN, which I started using. It's part of Setup, and you don't have to pay a service fee for it.
Yeah,
I guess it's fine.
Yeah,
I've been using Surfshark.
Mark?
Yeah, I was just going to ask as sort of a final question, just as we're going forward, general sense of others that we're not back to sort of our pre-COVID travel level. We're slowly getting back, doing more travel. I'm just wondering about the other panel members and where they are relative to your travel level now versus say in same time in 2019.
Oh, it's nowhere near.
Yeah, it's nowhere near.
If
I feel like I'm slowly edging back up, Mark. But it just I mean, unfortunately, it's not as easy as it was pre-19. So that's the other thing, that the prices are such that you second guess certain trips. It's like, well, maybe I'll just put that off till next year, or I'll wait until I can find a better price. So there's that. And just the whole travel nightmare thing of all the flights being canceled.
Did you see all the luggage in Heathrow?
Is that the thing where it was like Delta loaded up an airplane with just luggage
to
Detroit?
Yeah,
flew to Detroit.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's why you need the AirTags.
That's why you need the AirTags. Yes.
Yeah. although if you send my luggage in Heathrow, you're not getting it back for like a year anyway, so it wouldn't really matter. It's a mess. My wife was just there again, and she said it's more to do with staffing shortages than anything else over there, and that's why they just can't do the baggage.
Right, because didn't the airlines fire something in the tens of thousands of people, or almost tens of thousands of people who, for whatever reason, didn't want to get COVID vaccinations, and now they're wondering why they're short-staffed and they can't run all their flights.
And people were quitting because they're getting attacked by stupid COVID decliners. And you saw the videos of those people going crazy, and they just started quitting because they're like, screw this, I'm not a babysitter. I don't want to do it anymore.
Well, and the airlines gave so many options for early retirement, thinking they were saving money, and then travel came back in a big way, and they can't accommodate it. So
unintended consequences.
Yeah. Hey, I sorry, I said we were going to shut this down, but one other thing I wanted to bring up, because I know I'm paranoid about it. I was then, and I'm even more so now. Any scrap of paper that has anything, a receipt of any kind that I use for a credit card, my hotel keys, anything, I shove in my suitcase, I bring home, and I feed in the shredder. I do not leave anything anywhere. In fact, I've gotten to the point now that I have, a Ziploc bag that, come back to the hotel room any night. If I have anything, I shove it in there. And then when I get home, it all gets shredded.
I'm bad with receipts. I just leave them on the table. I thought at this day and age, there's nothing really on when you eat at a restaurant, there's nothing really on a receipt that is could cause a problem if somebody saw it.
Chuck, I bring all the receipts home like you, but I hold on to them for a while, and that's a throwback to when I worked for Mac Observer and Text Expander, because it was primarily business trips. And I figure if they got audited at any point, then they would need as much documentation from me as I could provide about each trip. So I would just keep all that stuff together for each trip and file it away. And then after a few years, figured, all right, this one probably doesn't matter anymore. And then that stuff gets destroyed.
Really? I scan all this. Yeah. So if it's business or related, something that needs some longevity, I'll scan it, and I have a whole bunch of text expander snippets to make it easy to name things in a consistent way, so I can search and find something if I need it. Other stuff, I'll keep for a couple months and I'll shred it, because I've had sadly opportunities where you go to a restaurant and you get billed twice. And, so you dispute with the credit card, you have only one charge card, one charge slip, and, they seem to resolve it. So I'm probably not as paranoid, like you were saying, Jeff, about the information on it, but it's more just for personal expense management. And then ultimately, I guess we all know this, stuff collects in your wallet, and, you sort it out. And then, like you go to a doctor, right? You have a $15 copay that, stick in your wallet. And okay, well, it's now July. I saw my doctor in January for my physical, scan the thing and then shred the result. Because I think the IRS, I don't think they're sticklers that you actually have to have the original. You just need to have proof it was paid. I think that's unlike, contractual matters where original signatures, et cetera, are far more important to have.
Yeah. Brittany?
I consider myself a failure if I still have it when I leave the store.
Yeah.
Wow.
The receipt. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I do not want them.
No, I throw them right away. And if I could get
if they are sticklers for having it, I'm screwed, because I'm never going to keep track of that crap anyway.
But do you scan it or something so that if you have, if you need to make a return,
probably should for my business purchases. I buy everything on a credit card. I use cash for nothing. There is a record. I don't know why I need to keep it.
One thing real fast though, if you use Apple Wallet and some credit cards, it's there, right? So every time you pay for something, I get an alert, a notification from Amex saying, and then you go into the wallet app or even the Amex app, and you can look right then and there what they charged you, and you don't need that receipt.
But Brittany, have you ever had issues with needing to return something and they wouldn't because you didn't have the receipt?
If I bought something in person and I think it's a high likelihood to return it, then I suppose I might keep it for that amount of time. But if I kept anything else, I would never know which one was the one that I might need to return. But mostly, if it's under $100, I'm not going to return it anyway.
Most stores now keep copy. Like Best Buy, they know. Like if you give them their phone number,
and they can look it up, right?
Yeah. I mean, see, Kohl's is the same way. All these.
I won't return things you have to drive to.
Yeah.
Let me be clear. Amazon will return.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Amazon.
But Warren, Best Buy knows you. I mean, you walk in and they say, "Hello, Mr. Sklar, can we help you?"
I walk in.
He has a valet spot.
Yeah. They throw me
it's got a nameplate.
Certificates. They do this to me.
Yeah, it's like, would you like another M2 today, Mr. Sklar?
Hey, everybody waiting for an M2 MacBook Air. Best Buy came right through. 2 days.
So, Brittany, you may find this entertaining or concerning. When I travel, of course, I know I have a trip coming up. I pull out a folder from my box of folders, write the name of the trip on the front of the folder, and then every piece of documentation that goes along with that trip, I have saved digitally in OneNote, but then I also print it, and it all goes into my travel book for the event. So I have a printed backup of absolutely everything with me when I travel, which has actually saved my ass a couple times. And then when I get back to the hotel room in the evening, I pull all the receipts out of my wallet, stick them into the little flap in the folder, and they're there. And then that's it.
You have a system.
Yeah. So where are you between the Jeff and Brittany scale? I guess is where we're going, and in keeping and saving receipts.
So, Jeff, what sort of problems have you solved?
I'm way past Jeff.
Okay, so the problems that I've solved, typically it's related to reservations. Like I've shown up at hotels and they're like, we can't find any record of you. And then I pull up in the page and I'm like, here you go. And they say, oh, we'll just scan the barcode. And then everything shows up. Or I've done a car rental.
Hypothetically, that would be in your email on your phone too, right?
Hypothetically.
It's been so long since I had.
But it all depends on coverage, and if you have it currently on your phone, or if you made the email reservation 4 months ago and it's not current. So,
do you know what I discovered? This isn't directly related. You know your insurance card? Doctors ask you for it every time you come in. They never need it, because if you have it only on your phone, you're like, no, I don't have the card anymore. I only have it on my phone. They're like, oh, never mind. I was like, so you didn't need it at all. This is what I've discovered. Anyway.
That's a great point, Brittany.
To be fair, they check it to make sure it hasn't changed, but
but they can look that up. They don't need to see your card to do that.
No, they can't look up whether you change insurance or not. They assume that you don't. So they'll process your current insurance, and if you switch, then they gotta chase you.
So Jim,
the
you
physical
said
card wouldn't tell them anything different.
Right. Oh, the phone? No.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I just bring them home and keep them forever.
Today's MacVoices is supported by Kolide. Kolide is an endpoint security solution that uses the most powerful untapped resource in IT, end users. Old school device management tools like MDMs force disruptive agents onto employee devices that slow performance and treat privacy as an afterthought. Kolide does things differently, though. Instead of forcing changes on users, Kolide notifies your team via Slack when their devices are insecure and gives them step-by-step instructions on how to solve the problem. For IT admins, Kolide provides a single dashboard that lets you monitor the security of your entire fleet, whether they're running on Mac, Windows, or Linux. That visibility makes it easy to prove compliance to your auditors, customers, and leadership. And by reaching out to employees via a friendly Slack message, Kolide can help you build a culture in which everyone contributes to security. You can meet your compliance goals today by putting users first. Visit kolide.com/MacVoices to find out how. That's Kolide, KOLIDE.com/MacVoices. Thanks to Kolide for supporting this week's MacVoices.
And
there you go.
You put them
problem solved.
You frame them.
No.
How do you find them?
Who said anything about finding them?
Right.
I always have it in my wallet.
That was my policy, and then I realized these have all faded. I don't know what any of them are. They're now completely useless. I don't know what ones had a purpose or what ones didn't, and so I decided I went to the other extreme.
And we could do a show. I mean, I literally bought a scan snap just for the receipts. I went through my pile, and took me about a month, and I went through all my receipts, and I shredded what was left.
Jeff, back at you. I'm not understanding your thing about hotel reservations and rental cars, because how is that not in your email? I mean, where did you get the thing that you're handing them? You didn't physically go into the hotel in the first place and get something printed out.
No, I printed it at home as soon as I have my reservation, and it goes right in the folder. And then that way, okay, so here's the thing. A lot of times I'll have a reservation for a hotel a few months in advance.
Sure. And I have a folder in my email where I can find that.
Yes, and on my iPhone, I have intentionally done the thing where if an email is more than a couple months old, it doesn't show up on the phone anymore. And I don't want to pull up my laptop. And so it's just right there. And I found in many cases, it's much faster for me to pull out the folder, show them the page than it is to pull up my phone and go looking for that email. Now,
I use Gmail, so my original email, welcome to Gmail from 2004 is still there.
Yeah, and I'm not using Gmail, so I've limited myself in that respect. However, because I've also put everything in OneNote, there's absolutely no reason why I couldn't open OneNote on my phone and pull up that document and say, "Here you go." On the other hand, I found that it's incredibly effective when I just lay out a printed piece of paper in front of someone. They seem less intimidated than when I'm holding a slab of glass and metal saying, "Well, here's the thing." They see a printout and they're like,
me.
"Oh, yeah."
No, the only reason I would have done it would be to intimidate them out of arguing with me. Oh, no, look, I have all of the papers. Here they are.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. I've got the papers. And like,
but if the iPad intimidates them more, I would far prefer to do that.
And the barcodes are funny, like at sporting events and concerts, because it's on a phone, it's hit or miss, right? Can you hold the phone? We've all been there. Can you hold the phone this way? The light's shining, backups, So a printed copy, a lot of people will bring a printed copy of the code with them.
Yeah. And I've been to many events where they expect you to bring something that's printed. So all of that stuff gets printed and thrown in the folder too.
Yeah. I always use a printed boarding pass because inevitably, the scanner doesn't work or something. And, it's always the person that's two people in front of me that their phone doesn't work. And so they're having to pinch and zoom to try to get it to work. And it's like, no, I take the boarding pass, but then I take that boarding pass and I bring it home and shred it and I also take the luggage tag on the outbound trip, take the luggage tag off, stick it in that bag and bring it home and shred it.
You should bring the shredder with you.
Why?
When you travel.
Why?
You would just.
Why would you shred a luggage tag?
Let's not.
Because Jim, how else that luggage tag probably contains information on me, because how else are they going to know where to deliver my bag if it gets lost?
I don't think that is on the luggage tag.
It's a code. It's a scan code.
It's a code that maybe with that code and access to the airline database, you can get that information.
Yeah.
But I don't think that information is in the tag itself. And if somebody can get into the airline database, shred away. It's not going to, you're already screwed.
Yeah, but it just, at the end of the day, it's one more vector that, it doesn't cost me anything to throw that in that bag and shred it. But, I've got a little bit of just that much more security that at least I feel like I have.
Yeah.
So maybe I'm fooling myself.
With all the derogatory comments I've made out of here on President Putin, Chuck is certainly on the FSB, enemies list, so.
he shaves.
So it's your fault he has to shred all of this stuff.
Yeah, this is all on
again.
Mark.
I don't think shredding luggage tags things is going to.
Chuck shaved off his fingerprints.
That's like I know somebody that like shreds their junk mail because it has their address on it, and I'm like, your address isn't a secret.
Yeah, your address isn't a secret.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Chuck, the fact that you're shredding the luggage tags, tracking tags that I'm just throwing in the trash can in the hotel room, I'm still emotionally supporting you and taking those home and shredding them, because I'm the guy that makes a folder for every single trip and prints out every single document related to that trip. So take those home and shred them. And if you want to call me afterwards and say, Jeff, I just shredded these, I will tell you that I'm proud of you.
I think you're actually creating more of a risk by printing all this stuff out that it could get out. We had actually a whole issue at work where people were printing from home. So the whole topic was VPN employees, can they print to a home printer, company information to a home printer?
Not Wi-Fi.
And not on Wi-Fi, but actually you can, because you could tunnel through now on the new ones, but we'll talk about that later. But anyways, the consensus was, you shouldn't be printing anything company related to a printer, because it's instinctively less secure than putting on a computer or a phone. So I think by printing all this stuff out, you say you couldn't shred it, but things get dropped, things get lost. It happens. So you're actually creating more of a trace of you by printing this on.
Oh, I'm very well aware of that. And just to make you cringe even more, you can't see it from here, but directly behind me, I have this little shelf thing, and it has the folders from, I think, like the last 10 trips that I've taken, still sitting there with everything in them, including all the receipts.
I think
right out there where anyone that comes into my place could find them.
Yeah, this is a really interesting discussion, because it speaks to all of our personal evaluations of security and privacy versus convenience. I mean, because I'm with Jeff. I print out a lot of things for any trip I take, but I also have them on my phone, because I just like Mark said, sometimes you get to the hotel and you don't have internet access, or you have problems, gaining access to things. And it's like, yeah, if I can just open my backpack and pull it out, that works. So everybody has to do what they're most secure with. I do want to share.
Underlining that, I mean, that's I had actually had that experience checking into a hotel in Manhattan on 34th Street a couple of years ago, and they, for whatever reason, they couldn't find it, and I couldn't bring it up on my phone, but I did have a printout, so I had to go digging through, Pocket in my computer bag somewhere to find it. Ultimately found it, and that's what. Oh, Mr. Fuccio, we're sorry. Of course, we have your registration here. This is the number, and they found it. So I do it probably more as a matter of convenience and backup, because we all know the value of backup, to protect our stuff, than it is so much for I'm worried about security or identity theft or things. But I think in that regard, I'm glad that Apple Pay is accepted in so many more places, because that makes me a lot more comfortable. You always used to give me the heebie-jeebies, as I say. You have to give your credit card to somebody at a restaurant. You're obviously a tourist. You're obviously there, one time only. You may as well put a target on your front, chest, and back, saying, "Rip me off." So. Everyone has, building on Chuck's point, everyone has different risk assessments, but you can't say anyone's wrong for doing this. You can only question, why are you worried about that risk instead of mitigating it this other way?
But as an Apple community, Apple is very big on having everything not printed. That's why we're getting Apple Pay. That's why we're going to be using our phone to get into cars and houses and hotel rooms. And that's why receipts are going to be. Apple would love you guys not to print anything anymore and to have everything securely on their device.
Yeah. So in California, they have the ability that you can download, to your wallet. You can download a card, that certifies your COVID vaccinations. And
that's everything. And I think we're in the transition now between the paper society and what Apple's vision is.
And I wish our state would, with $100 billion surplus, that they would get off their lazy asses up in Sacramento and allow us to have digital driver's licenses. I think it's shameful they're not the leader in the country in making that happen.
Same here.
But I agree with Warren. I think it is we are in a transition state. There's no question. I mean, hey, we're in a transition state between a cash society and a cashless society. So, but we're not there yet, and we're not there to the point that we can rely on all our devices all the time. And that's not even necessarily a condemnation of an Apple device or an Android device or anybody else's device. Sometimes it's just the accessibility of Wi-Fi or cellular connectivity.
Mhm.
So, you do what's appropriate. I do want to share Brian in the chat room put this in as to why he keeps receipts and never uses a credit card at a gas station. He was charged once $100 for about $20 of fuel in March in 2020. He said yes to the receipt, but it was out of paper. He disputed the charge, but the dispute was denied because he didn't have the credit card receipt. So now,
That sucks.
Yeah, there's a guy who got burned once for about $80 and, said, no, never again. He'd rather pay cash. I'm sort of what Jeff was saying about me. I support you, Brian. If that happened to me, I think I'd be a whole lot more hesitant about it than I am. So
credit card companies are pretty good though. I mean, everybody's had this happen. I mean, not just him, skimmers and things like that. So, I mean, but I don't think I've ever had been responsible for any charge like that I didn't do. I mean,
I never have.
Any legitimate credit card is going to give you protection on fraud, and that's what they do. And they make enough money, and that's their job.
There's some of the gas stations around here take Apple Pay now.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that.
You live in the future.
Yeah, I can't wait for that.
It's only about maybe 5 or 10% so far.
Remember Speed Pass?
That's gone.
I've never used it, but
mobile. That was Mobile Nexon's Apple Pay solution before Apple Pay, and they give you a little dongle to put on your car.
Yep, I had it.
Yeah. So I mean,
so I have a story about that for After Dark. A project we did for a semiconductor company that provided the chips in that, and it's probably not appropriate here, but once we get After Dark and we're can talk and we're not recorded, off we can go.
Okay. Listen, this went on a lot longer than I thought, but I do want to get to at least one other story if I can. But thank you. I think this was useful. Hopefully we've helped some people see some things, think about things, and maybe contemplate a few things they hadn't thought. I'm throwing a link into the chat rooms now. This MacVoices live panel finally wrapped up their discussion of travel and tech, and then moved on to the next topic we wanted to cover, and that is the class action lawsuit settlement against Apple for the Butterfly keyboard. The group talks about how it happened and why it probably won't happen again. That's next time on MacVoices, and I hope you'll join us. Until then, and as always, I'm Chuck Joyner. Thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for show notes and to connect with Chuck on social media. Get involved in our Facebook group or like our Facebook page, and get more out of your Apple tech with MacVoices Magazine, free on Flipboard and on the web. And if you find value in it all, consider supporting us through either our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/MacVoices or by making a one-time donation via the PayPal link on our front page and in the show notes of each episode. You will join these fine people who help bring you MacVoices. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media at backbeatmedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at cashfly.com.